Hey everyone, Jack here with a quick video today. It's a bit of a rainy, overcast day and the seas are a little bit choppy and rough, so figured I would do a bit of a gear breakdown running through all of the kit which I have. I've got a few of my older pieces today and some of the new stuff I've just added this season. So for the newer pieces, I'll be doing a bit of more of an in-depth breakdown of each one, just so you get a bit more of a close-up look at it. I'll probably link those in the description below once I get that sorted. But we'll just get straight into it. Quick short run through everything. So first up on the list, something essential to every spearfisher out there, you're going to need to be having a gun, spear of some sort. This is my trusty gun which I've had for many years. It's the Rob Allen Scorpia Rail 1000. Now you might notice it's a little bit different than the one you get off the shelf. I've converted this one over to a roller. It's a bit of sentimental value. Some people like to buy a second gun, but for me personally, I figured, I've had this gun since I was 17. It's the first spear gun I've held. It's been 13 years in safe hands. So pretty much I figured I might as well just modify it up a bit, keep hanging on to it. It still works, so why change? So yeah, converted this over. I've added the Rob Allen muzzle on the front, just the roller muzzle, just to add that extra power, give it a lot more shoot out the front. And with that added extra power, I've added a secondary wrap. So I've got a triple wrap of Dyneema underneath. I like the Dyneema, very nice and strong and sturdy. But pretty much, yeah, can't say anything bad about this gun really. It's worked fantastically for many years, got some fantastic fish on it. It's perfect for the Sydney region where you're ducking in around structure and reef, and you got to get that nice little blend between going in and out of the reef to maybe dipping out and going to deeper water and hunting some of those sort of small mid-range pelagics as well. Testament to build quality, still the original spear shaft. It's lasted all these years somehow. It's fantastic build quality on that. The spear tip's getting a little bit shorter each year. Just have to keep sharpening it down, but that's a little bit of maintenance every season I just look forward to. And then on the other side of the gun, trigger mech, still in working condition. I've just replaced a spring bit on it and replaced the joint on the bottom here, just keep it in place. But all in all, fantastic gun. Can't really fault it. Would recommend this sort of gun to anyone who's just getting started. And then over time you can just modify it up and add that extra power like I've done on mine. So yeah, as simple as with my gun right there. Next down on the list, we'll go straight into my fins. So these are new ones for the season. I'm running the Rob Allen Torsion Plus in the Ocean Hunter Ambush Pocket. It's a bit of getting used to this combination because I'm used to swimming in my more high grade competition freediving fins. But I figured this season, change of pace, I'll use some spearfishing fins, something a bit more geared for harder kicking and a bit more stronger currents, whereas my softer, more flexible freediving fins, and they're also a little bit more delicate for the rocks and stuff. So I figured I'll preserve those ones and take these ones just more designed to get bashed around the rocks a bit more. So I got the Rob Allen Torsion Plus. I'm running these in the S4 stiffness. If I do it over again, I'd probably go for a 3 or a 2. It's just a little bit too stiff for me, but nothing I can't really handle. It's just for that longevity. If I'm doing a 3.5, 4 hour dive session, it will wear on me after then, but 3-4 hours in the water, it's still pretty good. Only just be getting tired at the end of that. What I do like about these, it pretty much does exactly what it says on the box. They want to prevent the torsion, twisting of the fin while you're kicking with it. I've been kicking with it, just checking it out when I'm in currents, coming back up, and it does exactly that. It keeps a really nice flat straight path, which is something you want in a fin. You don't want to be losing too much water off the sides. So out of the box, the blades themselves perform fantastically. I've got them paired with the Ocean Hunter Ambush Pocket. Add a couple of red fixings to it just to make it a little bit more individual looking. It's fairly soft, simple, easy pocket. You see lots of people using this one just because it's a cheap, easy one to slap on there, and it fits generally most foot and sock combinations. So yeah, that's my simple fin outlay there. Can't really go wrong with that. Does the job. So next on the list, I guess I better go into the socks I pair with it. So I'm running the old Ocean Hunter, just little plush interior socks, 2mm, simple, easy, just what you need for Sydney. With my socks, I'm not too picky with them as long as my foot fits in them. They're nice and comfortable because realistically, if you're doing lots of rock hopping like I do, you're just going to be going through them. These will last probably a season before I tear them up a lot, and I'll have to get a new pair. So I'm not going to go all out on some super duper expensive socks if they're just going to get broken apart. If you're more of a blue water diver, maybe you can splurge on the more fancier looking ones, but for me personally, I want a good, simple, easy pair that's comfortable. These do the job, keep me warm, and pretty durable for the time being. So yeah, those are my socks I got there. Next on the list, got my weight belt. So again, more Rob Allen gear. Just love a lot of the kit they make. It's all very durable, very well made build quality. It's a testament to the brand. They do keep a very high quality range of build gear. So standard weight belt, can't go wrong with that. Nice and solid. I have added a little extra one of these little spring clips to it. That's just my personal little change there. Just if I want to stash my flasher or my torch or anything like that, it's nice and easy just to have a little quick clip. I can just throw it in there, clip it away, good to go. So yeah, as the belt itself, I personally prefer this standard setup of the buckle rather over than the buckle clasp, because the buckle clasp tends to have a tendency to accidentally open up on people. I know a few people have lost weight belts getting out in some rough water and accidentally flipping that open. So with those, not going to lose it. Fairly solid, simple system to follow. Moving down the line, so go bottom to the top, I guess. So snorkel I'm running, bit of a newer edition this year. I've got the Southmar Ellipsis. This is a more newer one from Southmar. It runs with a more oval shaped, quite wide bore snorkel. So personally, it's quite comfortable to breathe up in. I've got quite a deep lung capacity, so for me filling up it takes quite a while. So for me, it's really nice. It's quite good. I don't really feel any resistance with my breathe ups at all. Yeah, all in all, works really well. It does what it says on the box. It's a bit of a flexier one. It's not like a rigid tube like some of the other ones on the market, so it does have a little bit of give in it. But for me personally, my preference for a snorkel is just a mouthpiece for the pipe, something which has a very low chance of failure. So far, quite happy with this one here. Next one on the list, I've got my good old mask. I might go snorkel than the mask. So I'm running a Rob Allen Trevally this season. It's pretty simple. It's a nice soft skin mask. Originally, wasn't a huge fan of using soft skin just purely because of the durability of some of the earlier editions. You saw with some of the newer soft skin ones that there's really small connection points to your mask strap, and they always tend to break away and fall apart over time. With this one, you can see it's got these massive heavy lugs on the side. It looks like something's going to last a very long time. It looks very solid, very sturdily built. It's not like just some little small little silicon ring holding the whole section of your mask strap. The big problem is that that fails, the whole mask falls apart. So I'm liking the quality of this. It looks very solidly made. Another big change as well is using the mono lens. For the longest time I've been using the double. So going to a mono lens has definitely changed my field of view. It's really opened things up. This one as well works rather well with me, even though I've got the moustache on. Very minimal amount of water leakage once I get it set in the right position. So quite happy with how this works. I was a bit skeptical at first, but after I got used to it a few times in the water, it's just changed how much I can actually see and really open things up. So when I do like an individual breakdown, I'll do a bit of a comparison between this one and my old mask, just so you can see the field of view change that's happened between the two masks. So next on the list, let's go to my knife. So simple one, Rob Allen Dentex. So simple as with this one here. Bit of a fancy looking knife. I love this thing. It's so pretty. It's a nice, just solid stainless steel knife. You'll notice it looks quite similar to some of the other ones. It's very similar to the X-Blade, which has the plastic handle basically over the top of this. This is the naked version of that. I personally like this just because it's low profile, very minimal. There's less of something to catch on the side of my leg there when I got it swimming along. Generally, love this little knife. Good, easy, simple dispatching kill knife for spearfishing. So got a nice serrated edge on one side of it, nice sharp blade, nice wide point, perfect for dispatching those larger fish or using it as a burley cutter as well. They come standard with their good old leg sheath there, nice narrow low profile sheath, easy to store, stash away. You can see that it's very low chance of me catching any rigging or lines on that stuff. So I do like this one. It's a very comfortable knife, very easy to use, very sharp. Something about the general maintenance for this one, however, because it is completely stainless, you just got to make sure you give it a good rinse and dry after each use. Alright, just don't store it in the sheath. There's an easy way to keep it, otherwise you'll just get like some little salt staining over a time period. So better off just keep it rinsed, like all your other knives, just a little bit of extra care, makes the longevity and keeps it looking pretty for a longer amount of time. The next one on the list, Ocean Hunter Dyneema PVC coated gloves. So these are my summer gloves. As I go to winter, I might swap into going back to some more thicker 2mm, maybe 3mm in the middle of winter. But usually with these do just fine. Perfect for a summer glove. I like having that range of motion. So it's not just for these, it's also if I've got the camera out there, I want to be able to use my dials and controls and stuff. I hate doing that if I've got big spongy fingers. So Dyneema gloves, these are also fantastic grade gloves, very strong, very durable. It's that Dyneema weave, so it's very hard to break these ones apart. A bit of wear and tear over time. I've been using these ones for a couple of months now. Just climbing in and out of rocks, you'll wear away the PVC coating over time, but the actual Dyneema itself will last you for ages. So yeah, very good solid gloves, can't really fault these, really good for summer. As I swap into winter, I'll start going back to some more 2mm, something in that range, a bit more neoprene to keep me warm, but for most of the year, that's what I roll. Next up on the list, something I recommend for any Spearo in the local area, something to add to your kit bag, having some sort of flasher or teaser. Alright, these little things are very simple, very easy to use, and they do help you just coax in those other sort of species you might not pay attention to in the water. So whether it's lurking on the reef, pulling up some rockies or sargos, or drawing it out in the open, pulling in those bonnies and kings. Alright, really, really good little kit to carry on you. I've got the little Rob Allen bait ball flasher here. Can't go wrong with this one. It is a very, very simple, easy to use design. So, just you have your integrated float with it, but when you're done with it, the whole thing packs down inside the float itself. So if you want to be a bit more space conscious, you just pack it back inside of that, throw it back in your bag, away you go. But for this one, it's a really simple, easy design. You get yourself 4 mirrored fish and a little squiddy on the bottom. So what I find as well with this little squiddy here, it's actually really good at attracting those other little squid in the area. So it's pretty often I find that just going out along my local reef area, I'll tend to pull in quite a few squid just sitting at the bottom looking at this little fella down here. So really cool, really simple bit of kit. I highly recommend anyone getting out doing the local Sydney run, have one of these in your kit bag, just simply for the simple compact nature of this. I can stuff this away in my cray bag or just have it resting on my shoulder. So easy enough with that. Speaking of cray bags, more Rob Allen gear. I've just got my basic little bag here. These things pretty simple, straightforward. Your standard little beaver bag. Just have a little clip around there, clip it in like that. When I'm diving, I tend to use this as a bit of a stash bag for my flasher. I also sometimes carry a little throw flasher with me, just a little pipe. Just a little easy way to stash it away. Also, stashing torches and stuff in that, just in case you want to swap in, do some cray diving along the way as well. Really helpful. I always, pretty much every time I go out, I dive with one of these. It's just a little extra storage point if I'm grabbing anything. Also, if I'm just diving an area around a reef, there's sometimes a bit of trash, a bit of discarded fishing gear. It's always good just to have something to stash it in when you're picking it up, doing that stuff. Always good to clean up your local. So, Rob Allen catch bag, easy enough. And then last on the list, I have my suit. So, we'll start the pants section of this. It's my Rob Allen 3.5. Actually, I'll start with the jacket, why not? Rob Allen 3.5mm open cell wetty. So again, I'm a bit of a stickler for the Rob Allen. They make a really nice bit of kit. For me personally, I'm fairly tall, slender fella, so getting a right fitting suit is really quite tricky, and a lot of the stuff off the rack just doesn't fit. I've tried a few of the other brands and it's always just that bit too short. I'm in the 203, 6'7" range, so it's quite difficult to get something. Also being slender, it's either really too tight or it's a fat suit. So I'm sort of getting the good happy medium between the two. I found it with this one. It has a nice sort of narrow profile down the torso. It's not too tight, and it's just got the right contour in it, so it fits quite well to my body. And the actual top is actually just about the right length. So it fits me rather well for an off-the-rack suit. I can't really complain. It does a fantastic job for me, keeps me warm. As standard, comes to the good old loading pad. Standard just brown camo, blends in really nicely to the local Sydney reef. And the other added feature is they always come with these ones. They come straight away with a long john top. Now you notice I'm missing mine. That's because I've cut the section down to make it into a summer set. So there's a nice little, you can't really see it here, but there's a nice little line that they mark across there for you. So you can cut along that line. I've sort of cut slightly above it because I'm shit with scissors. But pretty much cut that off. That makes it a nice summer pair of pants. Little knee pads, simple as for that. All in all, in general, it's a really good, comfortable suit. Works really, pretty much for the majority of summer in Sydney. A good 3.5 is good. I'll be swapping into my 5 and probably like going on June, July-ish. Once the water starts to cool down a bit more, I'll swap into that. So yeah, that's a bit of a breakdown of my summer kit here. I'm going to do a bit more in-depth on some of the other things here, so have a look for the link below and you'll see some of the more in-depth look at some of these bits of kit that I have. But apart from that, that's pretty much it for today, so see ya.